in the habit of wearing some headphones or something
Okay.
because I'm hearing the feedback and I'm not using any of the mics.
This time I don't have any feedback, at least from you, because normally, I hear you, but this time I don't have any feedback. But that's
Okay.
fine. If we could just get the link to work on my actual computer, that's fine.
Cool, cool. Well, good evening, everybody. It is March 3rd. And, and it is your favorite podcast on the planet. It's the last of the millennials. We probably right. And so, welcome if you are watching and you're hearing this. You made it to the third month of 2022, and so it's already been a hell of a ride. And so, we're going to break down to you these last 2 weeks to catch you up with what's going on in our world. All right, Kendra, how are you doing this tonight?
I mean, I am stressed out.
Why?
I am stressed out. This week, just for personal, I returned back to a hybrid schedule of working in office, and that has exhausted me physically. And I also feel less productive being in the office than I do at home. What's the face? What is that?
You feel less productive, but you probably are more productive based on what I know about
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
your schedule.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not more productive. I feel less productive because I am less productive. Tomorrow is Friday, and I haven't done half of the things that I need to get done this week that I do every week. Um, because I spent more time. You don't really recognize how much time you spend putting on and entertaining the people. And that's a lot. And so now I was back at home today. Um, and I was so tired. I felt like taking a nap. I felt like taking a nap. So, that has been my week, and I am gearing up for the what do you call it? See, I can't even think straight. My son is he's on year-round schedule, so he's going on break next week. So I'll be on a 3-week break from parenting 100% of the time. And so, I am looking forward to that. I wish I was also off of work. But outside of that, I'm good. I'm healthy, I am well, I am alive, and so many things have happened in our world since the last time we went live. From Super Bowl happened to, yeah, Super Bowl happened. So it feels like it's been 3 weeks actually. Super Bowl happened. Um, Russia invaded Ukraine. Um, gas prices are soaring. Mask mandates have been dropped. Um, Wendy Williams has gone berserk. Kevin Hunter is now suing the good folks for wrongful termination. Kanye and Kim are in court. Just a plethora of things have happened since the last time that we were on. And there's no we're going to cover all of these things tonight, but we are going to cover a few and a lot of real world examples. Melinda Gates went on an interview with Gayle King, honey, let me tell you, when they talked about women stay majoring in the minor, now let me tell y'all bro code something, me included. Melinda could be hurt about Bill portraying her or cheating on her because she was still walking away with a bag. You gotta say, do I need to make enough fuss out of this that I'm gonna walk away with a profit? more 9 times out of 10 is gonna be nothing. You're not walking away with anything. So you kind of gotta gauge, the value of the fight. But that's always been going on in my world. How have you been, for?
I'm just ready, ready. Get the people, the real raw and the lovely. We probably right perspective. So let's get into it.
Also, wait, I forgot to go over this traumatic experience. So 2 weekends in a row, I was out of town for work and other reasons, and my accommodations were not. Oh, surprise, let me tell y'all, I was in the city of Baltimore, Maryland, fighting for my life, honey. Well, before we jump in it, I do want to say that tonight's episode is brought to you by Moments Captured, LLC, and they are providing all of your photo booth, selfie booth needs via 360 or newer technology. Again, that is brought to you by Moments Captured. All right, Freddie, you ready to get into this tonight?
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
forgot
forgot
that
that
I
I
served
served
on a
on.
jury this week for a murder trial. Yep.
Can you talk about that right now or no?
I
Um,
don't want to talk about it. It was a murder trial, and I don't want to die. Everybody in the
everybody in the
case
face.
kind of couldn't make it to court because they were dead. So there's that.
Wait, died since the arrest did?
It's been
It's
like
been
four
like 4
years.
years.
It's happened
It's
in
happened in
2018.
2018. And they were supposed to testify and they died since then. Oh,
Yep, they
yeah,
are
they
no
are no
longer with
longer with
us.
us. All right, let's get into what we didn't have a song for this week. Really, what have you been watching?
Nothing
Nothing
new.
new.
Um,
Um,
not this
not
week.
this
I've
week.
been
I've been
coming home
coming
going
home
to
going to
sleep
sleep
because this
because this
Oh,
trial
trial
has
has
made
has
me
made
been
me
weary.
draining.
weary.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. I haven't been watching anything new. But I have been seeing, I still been, catching a little Tubi movie every once in a while. But I have been seeing people talk about, what is it, Creating Anna? Or
Yeah, I've
yeah,
seen
I've
that.
seen that. It's something about a scamming lady. That's all I know. So check that out. Let us know what you think. So let's get into this. So first, in good news, I want to say, and that's some millennials. We always celebrate Black excellence and the greatness of Black people. And so this week, we're sending congratulations to Shonda Rhimes and Pat McGrath. They are being honored with their own Barbie in celebration of the International Women's Day or month, whatever. So that is huge because Shonda Rhimes and Pat McGrath are regular, everyday women. They are what our aunties look like in terms of looks. They are your regular auntie. They are what you they are extraordinary
Okay.
women. They are extraordinary women, but in terms of looks, they are your everyday woman. They are shapely. They have, rolls or a fupa or a double chin or whatever. And so to now have this in a Barbie lineup in celebration of National Women's Day, I think this is huge and it's a beautiful thing. Freddie, you have any thoughts on that?
Why is
Why is
Barbie
Barbie
still a
still a
thing?
thing? Because kids like dolls.
Did you
Did
like
you like
Barbie
Barbie
dolls?
dolls? I'm an exception. I am I hate when people say, well, that don't apply to everybody. I hate that. In this case, that is one of those things. I didn't play with dolls at all, really.
Oh,
Oh,
goodbye.
goodbye. And but I had cousins who had like the model kits or whatever. It came with the different types of dresses and the shoes. Like they had all those things. I didn't do well with playing make believe as a child. So everybody else was like, ho, ho, ho. I was like, this is not real. This like, can we do something for real?
That checks out. That checks
So
out.
that playing with dolls and stuff just did not, because they didn't do anything. So I didn't.
Yeah.
It never took to me. So But while Barbie is still a thing, that is great news for us and the Black women. So I do want to talk good freely. So do you? So I know, like, we can constantly, especially between us, we constantly talk about food and our habits with food. So we know growing up, sometimes we probably didn't know that we were eating survival meals. So what is something that you ate so much as a child that you will not eat or have not eaten as an adult? And if you're watching, please put it in the comment section. So for me, I'll say uh peanut butter and jelly. And I think you've been around me enough to know that certain little staple items, even Messiah has never had. So
I love me some peanut butter and jelly. Um, I there's not we my mother cooked growing up, so there was not stuff that we just ever continued to eat because she stopped cooking at an early age in my life. So I don't know. Yeah, my sister's in the chat, but a lot of these sandwich like I don't. They would not ever struggle meals, so I don't have any bad feelings towards the hood food. Like sometimes I crave a little fried bologna with some Cheetos. You know, that was a meal.
wait, fried bologna with cheese. Like my mom cooked a lot. So I don't have those regular things, but the things that we did, because my mom also worked a lot. So, peanut butter and jelly is what you made at the house, and I won't even buy it now. But I saw some people say hamburger helper. My mom never made hamburger helper, so I don't know what that ministry was about. But I'm glad I missed the boat on that one.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Like it's nostalgic. So hmm.
I will say the one thing my mom did make, which was really good, but I hated when she made it because she made a lot of it, which meant we had to eat it. And you've been around me enough to know that we don't really eat leftovers. So she used to make baked spaghetti, and it would be a huge pan of it. And so I never really made spaghetti in my adult life. I probably made spaghetti 4 times, and I won't do it because it's like,
It's so
no.
good. It's so good. So good. Um, like I think for me, mine is the reverse. I I know what meals to make it, and even if I don't struggle now, like financially, so it's one of them things like I just make it because it's comforting. It like reminds me of simpler times. you know, I don't correlate it with struggling because we never really struggled as a child either. But my mom made some of those meals that were quick and easy. They worked at the meal. They had to come home, cook food, and then so it was spaghetti. I think we fried chicken. I didn't really start eating ramen until college. Well, that's not true. I had ramen in high school, but it wasn't like our daily meal. It was like you want something quick to eat, boom, go make some noodles.
I never really ate ramen.
It's
My
really
mom
good.
didn't buy stacks and boxes of it. Ain't eat no damn Vienna sausages or spam. I know that's right, Trey. Let me tell you, I tried to try some Vienna sausages one day. I was at the barber shop, and it's a Dollar Tree next door, and I was like, let me try this. It was disgusting, and I was like, why do people eat this? Like,
It's actually it hit the spot. You with some Viennas and some saltines, and then they come. The worst part of the Viennas is when you crack them open, you gotta drain them, and then it's gonna be this little gelatin around it that you gotta clean off. But they good if you know what you're doing.
no, I'm good on that. But my go-to struggle meal or meal that I learned about this in college, and I still will make it to this day. And Messiah thinks it's like gourmet because I add like a little razzle dazzle, some broccolis and stuff in it.
What is it?
So it's macaroni, it's boxed macaroni and cheese, and maybe it's really not a struggle, but it's boxed macaroni and cheese and Hillshire Farm sausages cut up in the macaroni and cheese, and you mix it all together. And if you want to do some real razzle dazzle, you saute some onions and add like some little broccoli in it, and it's like a whole thing.
You can't trust the palate of an 8-year-old. They like macaroni.
My 8-year-old is different, and you know this.
They like macaroni. Like they eat them kids used to eat that tall, skinny macaroni. But
With the
I
powder.
remember, yeah, and
Mm-mm.
that was nasty. Now there was those little. You talking about those little smoked sausages?
The
Is what you
smoked
mean?
sausages or the actual loop sausage, and you just cut it, chop it up, and saute it with onions and peppers, and you mix the macaroni. It's a whole thing.
Oh, I know what my struggle meal was. My mother loved some imitation crab meat, and I don't know why. She loved imitation crab meat. And I got older, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have me some crab. And I went and got that, and I was like, this is nasty, disgusting. Like, I will never eat imitation crab meat ever. That's one thing I will never, ever, ever eat. I don't understand.
Maybe it's not the same kind she had, because
It was
stuff changes
it was
sometimes.
the exact kind. If you eat meat with jelly on it, you too deep in the trenches. What does that mean? Oh, meat. Oh,
Yeah,
my anus.
really.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so moving right along. Have you ever So recently, there's a story about this woman. She said that she was recently arrested. She said that she loved her man so much it made her kill him. So they were in the intimate moment. She choked him to death until he died. Then she decapitated him, put his head some in a bucket, and his cucumber, and then stuffed his legs into a crock pot. And she was like, when they were interrogating her, they asked her, she said, do you know what it's like to love something so much that you will kill it?
Yes.
Really? Let's unpack that.
And it's not. I think it's culture. I remember I was working at a, a large black HBCU. Well, that was redundant, but a HBCU, and someone was hired to kind of transform the institution. And she made a statement in a meeting to alumni and said, "You all will love this school to death." And she was saying something along the same lines is that you are so stuck to the things that you love and hold dear that when it's time to progress or move something forward, you don't want to be progressive. And that's how I'm interpreting what you're saying. That's the only way I can relate to something. If I love something, I can naturally let it go, even if it's in that person's best interest. But to kill it, that doesn't make sense to me. She is psychotic, and she needs to be evaluated. But to literally kill it and then go through those steps after being a juror on a murder case, sisters, woo.
Well, I'm sure, there'll be a case made for her level of sanity. But I just felt it caught my eye because I was like, that is intense. Like to feel that you love something that much. Like I've seen people have babies and like they just like, oh, I could just suffocate you with love, and they squeeze the baby tight and keep kissing it, and So I was like, that is I've never loved a thing or a person that much that made me want to kill them. But I've seen where people say they love somebody so much they want to be like inside their skin, like that's how close they want to be to them. And it made me think of that, like, because I wonder, did they mean literally?
Don't come over here with that shit. I'm not here for it. I don't have time for it. I don't. If you love me that much, don't. Please don't. Because I know it's a little fucked up around here on Earth a little bit, but I kind of like what I got going on. And I have never experienced that before. That kind of love.
I don't think I would want to.
It's a little ghetto.
I don't think I would want to. So that is crazy. So if you have experienced any crazy love stories from yourself or others, and feel safe to say I had a friend in the comments, and just share your stories with us, because I just thought that that was the when your love gets that to that level where we're talking about killing, stealing, and destroying things or other people to feel closer to that thing. I've never experienced that. I don't think I ever want to, honestly. So, speaking of pivoting on, so you guys may or may not be aware or know who the Pastor Andy is of World Overcomers Christian Church in North Carolina. So, nothing dramatic has happened, but I'm gonna play a sound bite. Hopefully, you guys can hear it. So, I still, I have my quarrels with the church, but I still do follow some pages. And so every once in a while, something will come across my timeline that catches my eye. So Pastor Andy Thompson was in viral a couple years ago for the whole, don't let hoes outdo you spiel that he did. So I won't say this is viral, but it definitely caught my eye, and it's going with this new trend of women proposing to men. So I will play it. Let me know if there's a problem. Thing that can happen. If he asks God to marry you, he doesn't really want to marry you. If he's sure, he feels perfect. Everybody's there.
You can't really hear it.
He says yes. Okay, well,
This sounds like noise.
okay, well, I'll tell you what he said. He said he feels like it's the dumbest thing that a woman can do is to propose to a man, because he set the scene too. He was like, you got him in this place, and you have people around, and you ask him this question, and he doesn't want to embarrass you. And he's like, there are guys who just don't want to hurt your feelings, and they're not thinking about marrying you. And he's like, in the worst position you could ever put a man in is to force him into a situation that he does not want to be in, i.e., asking him to marry you. And then you get into the situation where he hasn't made up his mind about you, which is why he hasn't asked you. Or he has made up his mind and you're not the one, but now, you've put these stipulations on this thing now, and he's marrying you. And now here we are 2 years later with these other issues because he's in a marriage that he never wanted to be in. Now, does the man have a responsibility in this? Absolutely. He should say no, whatever. Say yes in front of the folks, have the conversation later at home, say, hey, whatever needs to happen. How do you feel when you see these videos of women going out of their way to create proposals or proposing and having these extravagant parties, getting on their knees? It's personally cringy for me. It's not something that I will ever do. But how do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's cringy, and this really comes from um, my very conservative, traditional upbringing as a Christian, and I just don't believe that that is appropriate. Um, it seems desperate. It seems like um, if he wanted to be with you, sis, he would have asked you to marry him by now. Case in point, Jim Jones and old girl, who they still ain't married. I think it's just something that shouldn't be doing, because I would probably be like, get up, get up, what you doing, 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 and anybody that was in on that shit gonna get it. Like, first of all, like, come on, like, I just can't rock with it. And I did not know that was Pastor Andy. I did watch that today, and I was like, absolutely. But I think it is also, for context, it is it's weird if you're I think if you're a Christian and you believe in those tenets that a man finds a woman, um, and from that perspective, I'm like, but then I'm also the same kind of person. Like, that's what you want to do, boo. I support you. So I could be on either end of the spectrum, depending on how I feel that day.
So removing Christianity, right? So one of the things that I've always been taught from men, directly from men, from their mouths, is that um, you will never, if a man wants you and wants to be with you and wants to marry you, you will never have to ask or guess. You will know. You will know. And one of the things that I was told directly, the day that you ask yourself, what are we doing? Do you want me? Your answer is in that question. Because if he did, you wouldn't have to ask. That's what I've always been told by men.
Facts.
And so it's like, if you get to the point where I'm going to propose to him,
Mm-hmm.
I also say, in none of the videos that I've ever watched have I ever seen the men look comfortable, and I've
No.
never seen them be happy or excited. I've never seen that in all of the videos that I've ever seen where the woman goes out of her way to propose to the man. So
Because it just make you feel like a bitch. I'm just like,
I
what
was
am I
trying to
actually
avoid
supposed to
saying
do?
that. I was trying to avoid saying that because I was like, I don't want to feel like I'm leading you
Yeah,
into this thing.
and I like niggas, and I don't in that situation I don't even want to propose to by another nigga. I'm just like, so like I'm just really kind of like, I do believe in and let me say, be very clear. I believe in a relationship. There's a more dominant person, and there's the one who's less dominant. And so for me, that's where it kind of gets like, there's somebody that's always a natural leader. There's somebody who's a natural, so in a more supporting role, and those things can shift in different situations. But when it comes to the bonding and the union, I think that man needs to be clear with you. And like you said, if I want to be with you, I'm gonna tell you, and you don't have to ask that question, because then I'm like, what are we doing? Whatever we did last night, or what we been doing. Like, why are you trying to mess up this good thing? So now I'm gonna have to find reasons to break up with you.
So to the men in the comments, I saw a comment from Tuki. But for the men that are watching, Tyra says it's emasculating. Can are you guys able to vouch for that? A man, when he wants you, he will make his intentions known directly. If y'all can answer that in the comments. Tuki says, if marriage isn't already a conversation, that went away for really. That has been between the two individuals. And the point of the proposal is what? For me, the person who initiates the proposal or makes known what they want is the person who is sure about what it is that they want, regardless of age, gender, and creed. I think that is, I, I think that's cute for the topic of conversation, but that's not always how that happens. And at the point that most women, at least from what I've seen, where they're proposing, is because the conversation isn't happening, or isn't happening fast enough. Not that there was a conversation about marriage, because then why would I go ahead and rush this thing to happen?
Yeah, and what is that? What is that about? What are we doing? And I think a part of what Tuki is saying, I do agree. Like in the beginning of dating, like there are things that you should go in clear with. Like, okay, we're dating to be married, or we're dating to date. And if you are afraid of commitment, then you should already know that you getting dated because he dating five other people. Um, so that's a red flag. I know that red flag trend is over, but red flag on the play, baby. If they saying, well, what are we doing? Then you need to go on about your business, because I don't ever believe you should let anyone else dictate that to you, whether you are the man or the woman. about what are we doing. That should be a consensus about where we are, and move on about your life. But yeah, don't be out here. I'm gonna say the word simping, but I don't know what that means. It just sounds right for this. Did I use that word right, Kendra? For a proposal. What does simping
Simping is more so for like men. So think of like Rob Kardashian, simp for Black China. He's kind of like the embodiment of what a simp is.
like he was in love
Basically,
with
he was a
her to where he
sucker. He
could?
was a sucker,
Oh,
and
he was whipped. So it's a new word for like being whipped.
or being a fool. Yeah,
But it's Black China. I don't think he was a fool actually.
I mean, we saw the
Um,
sex tape. It's not like she was turning tricks.
I didn't see the sex. I didn't know there was a sex tape.
Let me tell you, there's a sex tape. Look, it's on Pornhub or whatever. Just type in Black China, the tape will come up. It was very you know how we always talk you know how we always talk about we see celebrities and they get on like reality TV and it kind of kills our perception. That's kind of what that did for the world once they saw that tape of Black China. I mean, could not take a cucumber to save her life, and could not even guzzle one. Couldn't even chug a glizzy. So that's what that was. But that's what a simp is. Think of Rob Kardashian. And you're really gonna watch this right now.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
I'm done with this topic. I didn't know if there was comments to be to be read.
I wonder what Rob Kardashian looks like today.
I think he looks the same.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think he looks the same. Hopefully
Cool.
he's getting healing. So
Awesome. On to the next.
so so okay. So speaking of like these things that happen, so we know that most of the time people get married, there is the question of the bachelor and bachelorette party and what happens at those parties. And so some people see them as a pass, the last pass or the last hurrah to cheat and do whatever, whether they, duck down a stripper or whomever. So here's the story that I saw was trending is like, a man goes to his fiance on her wedding day because she had a bachelorette party. In the video, there was a video sent to him by her sister, the betrayal, of the male stripper dipping chocolate, having chocolate drip off of his private part into her mouth. And the sister was the one that sent this video to There's so many layers to this, right? I mean, beyond, her doing whatever she was doing, the part that gets me is that your sister filmed this and sent it to the man you were supposed to marry the next day.
She didn't want them to get married. She was hating anyway.
That's what I thought. What do you but do you think he should do you I know it's a normal man reaction because now I think it would have been one thing had he heard about the story. She probably could have talked herself out of it. But to watch a stripper drip chocolate off his cucumber into your fiance's mouth, whom you're supposed to kiss the very next day.
Girl, people act like just because it was chocolate dripping off a peen the day before that you gonna not kiss this person.
No, no,
I
no. I'm not
mean,
saying that she wouldn't. What I'm saying is for him, it was the visual that he had to see it.
his
Like,
ego, man. You won the prize. She gonna marry you. It was a night. And who has bachelorette parties the night before their wedding anyway? Like that, the people still do that. Like
yes, a lot of
the
people
night
do it.
before.
Yes, bachelor and bachelorette parties happen the night before. Like there are so many stories of the groomsmen being at the altar all drunk, just got finished throwing up because they partied so hard the night before.
But not in the parties we had were not the night before. I guess it's just a different age, but The ones I've
Natel
gone
said
to.
she had no business taking anything from that man's private part, and he would have called it off. Now, Natel, I know you are newly engaged, so I'm not gonna ask too many questions that might get you in trouble. But I imagine that you are going to have a bachelor party or do something of the sort. So I've heard stories about how these bachelor parties go down. Are you telling me you're going to go in there being a good Christian, or you just going to have a good card night playing card games and having beers?
Nah, you suppose like the whole point of this. Like I don't get it. Like if you're gonna have a bachelorette party, it's your last night of freedom. You go in, and I don't even know about it because you should assume the worst has happened. And if your people didn't set it off in this motherfucker for you, then that's your business.
So assume the worst. Oh my God. So wait, what's the
No
worst?
tells. No
Go
tell said
ahead.
I don't touch. He said eyes full but will not touch.
So wait,
And
so does that mean you won't touch them, but they can touch you, Natel? Because you got to pay attention to words. You got to pay attention to words. You ain't got to answer that. They tell you can send me a proper message. Oh, you don't have to put this publicly because I don't want you to get in trouble.
it's like here are my hands. Here are my hands. I didn't touch her. Nope. She was touching me. You know, this one I don't know. Tara says that I made an honor for my friend's wedding, and her husband want to have a drunk party. No, they probably Christians.
Well, I don't see an issue if as long as they're like because
This is no.
there are some dope couples that they they have some good parties. So
They just say he good. He ain't worried because the black men don't cheat. Period.
black women don't cheat either. We don't cheat.
We talked about what y'all do.
We don't cheat.
Y'all manipulate us
We
into
don't cheat. We
cheating.
don't do none of that. I don't. You watch yourself because you're a fucking liar.
Y'all
We do not
manipulate
cheat.
y'all. The reason why men step out on other women is because
It's
the other
because
women.
y'all don't. So you are admitting that they do cheat. Is that what
No,
you're
I said step out.
saying? What is define step out? What is that?
If I'm right here and then I'm right here, I just stepped out, but I can come back.
Black men do cheat. It's the black women. We are innocent. We are unprotected. We know what's happening out here. So
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about these joint parties. Like,
I don't see an issue with a joint party. I think it would probably be bomb. Go ahead.
is that something in the future? Is that like you? That's what you desire?
We don't discuss my business on this platform, and you know that.
We when we start that
we
because
have
if
we
that
have
is the
never
case,
directly discussed my business on this platform.
if that is the case, honey, just know there will be something else. I don't know these people. We trying to have a non-judgmental night.
We
Okay.
are gonna have a non-judgmental. We're gonna continue to indirectly talk about me without them
And
knowing.
so I think the people who are doing these joint ones are folks who are not worldly, and they don't even have a desire to do those kind of things. So they're like, we'll just do it together. We love each other. We're getting married, but it kind of just violates all of those things. Like it's 24 hours before your wedding, so like the night before, you're just supposed to do the rehearsal dinner. So I just don't. That's where I don't get how people are still having bachelor and bachelorette parties the night before your wedding, and the night before your wedding is the rehearsal dinner. Like, I just don't
Listen, I'm
understand.
not trying to practice how to sit down and eat and
It's
walk
not
to the
about. That's
table.
not what a rehearsal dinner
But
is.
but I'm saying like you rehearse the wedding, like everybody gonna walk
Oh,
slow. I'm gonna walk.
you need that rehearsal now.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to spend my whole night doing that. Like, we could do
Like
that
30
at three
minutes.
o'clock,
Like
and
30
that way
minutes.
the night is free.
Yeah, we did a party bus and we had fun, but it
But
was a
I
joint.
know
It was
couples
joint.
that are legit a fun time together.
Cool. Don't throw me no joint party. Because then that's just you throwing two receptions. Like it's no point. It's no point to have
Okay.
two receptions.
Okay. Okay, for really. Uh,
Financially, it don't make sense.
okay. All right. Next. So there was this question that I saw, and so we're gonna just move right along. And so this young lady writes and she says, me and this guy, we are dating, and I mentioned to him that I am waiting for marriage to have sex. The guy I'm dating says he is cool with that, and then he mentions that we should go Dutch when we go on dates because he is saving his money, because he is saving his money for his wife. And she says, I told him that's not cool, that he would not spend money on me because I want to wait until marriage. And then he clarified and said that's not the case at all. But he is not just about sex, but he should be a good steward with his money and reserve it for his wife.
But I support that man. I support that man. You want to hold the cookies? I'm gonna hold the purse. Like, who waits until marriage to have sex anyway? Because
I,
people
I
still
I
doing that.
literally just saw a video of a black couple that got married, and the lady wrote in the caption says, "I can't believe I waited till our wedding day to kiss you."
I can't believe that either.
Yeah, me either.
To kiss you?
So I will say the only person that I've ever known that had waited to marriage to have sex. She was getting cheated on left and right, but he was waiting on her, but he
On
was
her.
cheating on her left and right. Like, so it's like he knew that, she was, what he needed to have for his good thing, but he also understood he had needs. And so he was handling his needs and he still married her. Um, yeah.
Yeah, because I want you, but baby, you don't want what I got for you. That little thing. I believe in you. You should never make no long term purchases without an inspection.
Okay. Okay. I agree with that. However, so do you feel so clearly you feel he handled this situation correctly that she said she's going to save the intimate parts of herself for marriage, and he said, "Well, I'm going to save all my dollars for the woman that's popping pussy cuz you
Period.
ain't."
Because if you think that your sex is a privilege of marriage, then my finances and providing for you are also a benefit of this marriage. So
Mm.
to me, it makes sense. Somebody said, that's such a nigga answer. He paying for the cat. I mean,
You know how I feel about prostitution. So,
I think it's legal. It's been happening from the dawn of century. It is happening in America right now. It's happening in marriages. It's just
yeah.
the exchange. You're paying for somebody for their time, and we get prostituted for the work we do. Like it's not a thing. So I don't understand the big issue, but I think he handled that appropriately because her response was probably like, "Nah, bro, you can't, you can't do that."
That's kind of like those videos that have been going around where they're at dinner and the guy's like, "Are you coming back to the house with me? Are you coming back to the room with me?" And she's like, "No, I'm good." And then he splits the check.
Because if I did not want to have sex with you, we would have went for breakfast. We would have went for coffee at high noon. But I'd have spent $200. You gonna do? I'm a. Let me not say that.
Yeah, because you trade the line.
Well, I'm gonna say it anyway.
No, 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 no,
People
no,
have no. Yes, yes. Just because it is, we speak the truth here,
no. Okay.
and Kevin Samuels has already said it. There is some. I'm sending you home back empty. Like, bye bye. I wouldn't say I would not pay for the meal, but I think there is some expectation. Um, between actively dating folks that at some point we're going to have sex.
Okay, so I agree with that part, but I don't
You know,
agree that, like, if you ask me out and we go to dinner wherever, Perry's, wherever, we go to dinner, that I understand that I'm supposed to understand that my agreement to go to dinner with you equals your understanding that you're entitled or you will receive,
not entitled. No.
as I changed it, or that you will receive, but it's also almost like entitlement, that because you're spending money on me for dinner, that you're entitled to receive my coochie cat.
Yeah, I don't, and that's not what I was saying. Is that that is the that's what's supposed to happen. But I think at some that if you're dating in the world of dating that we're in, there is an expectation that there's going to be some intimacy. I think especially on a second, if you go on a second, third, fourth date, like
That's what I was
what do
gonna
you?
say. After a few dates, like, you know.
Yeah, Tyra says if you want, I feel like if you want to exchange money for the cat, then you should call a girl that does that. But if you want to date a girl, then you got to actually date. I'm going to say I don't disagree with you on that, Tyra. I'm just going to say is that sex is a part of the dating timeline. I think you have to be clear with the person you're dating about what your actual intentions are up front. And it's okay to address that. It's like I'm I'm not going to have sex with you. We're going to be waiting for sex, and it's just kind of is what it is. Um, you can do that. You can absolutely do that. But I think it's about when you're dating, you have to communicate what it is you're looking for. And a lot of times people go into these dating scenarios not really clear about what the final outcome is supposed to be. And then that's how you start letting people waste your time, how you get played. And I think on the other side for men who date a lot, dating is expensive. And so if you are trying to make an impression, if you have a certain kind of woman, they want a certain kind of thing. And it can be financially hard for you to maintain that, which is why you just got to be very suave and mix it up. With some free ideas, some adventurous stuff. Take a hike; it don't cost nothing, but a bottle of water and walk up that hill and connect. And I think if women and men could understand the different level that there's more to intimacy beyond sex, and if you could turn a man on in a different way and them see you in a different light, then they may not be expecting sex from you. Like they may still want it at some point if there's a connection there. But if you're not presenting anything that's of value, then, tickle the cat is what they going after. Kendra, you there?
Yes, I am here. I was trying to gather my thoughts on that, but I will move along. I'll move along. So, if you guys remember, a couple weeks ago, we covered a story about two people we don't really know. One called FTN Bay and OTF Duty Low. And so, this particular story was about FTN Bay. She had filed charges. There was a whole lot of mess going on. She did an interview with Tasha K, filed charges, and did a lie detector test alleging that OTF Duty Low had molested or sexually assaulted her young child. So went through all of that. He did the lie detector test. They found no evidence. His lie detector test came back. She said that it was all, and then she also went live later and said that, her son made it up and she was sorry. Then she changed the story again and said that, they made her go live and say that. Well, now FTN Bay has been arrested because Duty Low filed a restraining order against her, and she has now been stalking him. So she was arrested for violating the harassment and stalking um, order that he had. always listen to your kids. But this story just keeps getting crazier and crazier. Because even in looking at her demeanor when she was on Unwind with Tasha K, it was very erratic and just nonsensical in the way that most of the youth are. Um, in this time frame. So, Furley, how do you like? What do you think about this? What are your feelings?
No words. This is. I don't have anything to say about this one.
I
It's
just want to continue to see this play out and see what is happening and what happens, because I'm trying to understand the stalking portion. Is she stalking because something is really wrong with her, or is she stalking him because she is going to be an obsessive parent about bringing justice to the situation and feels like the only way she can do it is taking matters into her own hands, and if that means that she needs to be everywhere he is to make sure people know. I don't know what stance is being taken here, but this is really wild.
we need the truth. I think that's the biggest thing for me is that I don't know what the truth is. So
Yeah,
I don't have a real. I can't really analyze it without understanding what the truth is because it keeps changing.
I don't know if we'll ever get the truth on this. It's this she's a mother reacting to a story that her child allegedly told her, and she's reacting to it, and he is a man that is saying that this did not happen. They've all taken lie detector tests. His test came back that he was being honest about it. So I will never really know the honest truth about what happened. I do think the circumstances around this whole story just keeps getting stranger and stranger. So we'll continue to watch it and see what is happening. So as we move forward, so recently this week that has happened, you all know her as Delicious from Flavor of Love. She married one of the Central Park Five, Raymond Santana. I think last year or 2 years ago, she married him there. He has now filed for a divorce from her. So she went on social media and has been, like most women do, they put up these subliminal posts or say things. So she said that she married a narcissist and a cheat, and he left. He walked out on the family. He hasn't really said much other than he quoted Future and was like, I don't wanna. And he's now been posted things, but the conversations that have been flowing around is more so kind of like, what did she expect marrying someone with that level of trauma? So I don't really know the truth about what really happened in their marriage and what caused the breakdown of the marriage. But I know that that was a question for me when I did see that they were in a relationship. He's now at 45, 47 years old. And the Central Park case happened when he was 14 years old. I think he served 5 years, and then he was out for a few years after that. And then he went back to prison for a drug charge. So just so if you don't know, I think they were officially acquitted in the early 2000s. I might be wrong. And then they won their civil case um, back in 2012. So it's just like, what do you think you could expect in this type of situation where someone who is living with this type of trauma. And I saw from his previous wife, he has serious bouts of depression, as one could imagine, amongst other things. His first wife was a woman that he knew while he was in prison, and she stuck by him. He got out, they got married, had children, so on and so forth. So I don't know, like, what do you think, really?
I feel like Delicious is from like one of these VH1 shows. Is that?
She was from Flavor of Love. That was her claim to fame.
So I know
But that
these
was
are
a
real
very
people.
long time ago. Since then, she has built her own career for herself outside of reality TV. So, she now has a successful radio show, I think out in Chicago or whatever, amongst other things. So,
She's still going by Delicious. So
because that's how the people know her.
that's the only reason I would know her. I didn't
Yeah.
know she was even married to the guy. So the Delicious that I remember, that's the only thing I have in my brain for her. And what you just shared with me is
She
new.
doesn't look like Delicious from Flavor of Love. Like, look her up.
I'm not even concerned. Um, but what I will say is that that man left the person who stood by him while he was in jail, and he left her. So delicious. Um, he made a decision. You know, I'm all about people making choices. He made a
Yeah.
decision about what he wanted and did not want, and unfortunately, you fell in the basket of return to the sender. So
Oh shit.
he moved on, and I think this brings me down that rabbit hole of like, y'all don't own these people. I think I saw you post something today about people say it's just a little piece of paper until they put you down as a little friend in the obituary.
Listen, that is one of my that is a fear of mine. I'll ever want to be somebody's special friend in their obituary.
Special friend, honey. Everybody know Miss Mary.
And like the person responded to that, she said she put her dad's girlfriend down as a special companion, like a German Shepherd.
Period. Period. Fool.
Uh-uh.
I don't
Mm-mm.
think someone that says they were on marriage boot camp. It wasn't going to work then. They didn't even know each other. See, I
I
don't.
didn't
This
watch
is
I didn't watch that season.
I. It's gotten really ghetto, so I can't bring myself to watch it. It's not good reality TV for me. Um, he says that no judgment, but she is industry box. It was inevitable, and there you have
Mm,
it, folks.
Trey, now
Delicious
I
from
wouldn't call her
Flavor
industry
of
box.
Love. Who else
I
said
wouldn't
she
call
had?
her. I don't know.
He must know something we don't know.
I just
But
think
if
I think people get mislabeled as an industry thing, but it's no different than I think people don't realize that when you're living in a certain lifestyle or celebrity lifestyle, that community is already small. So, and your life is on display. So no, it's just like, who was the lady? She had three boyfriends over the course of 4 seasons, and they was calling her a hoe. Like, and most of us have boyfriends and whatnots more frequently than that. So there's like over the course of a season, like, don't act. Don't
girl, don't.
don't
That's
don't do
four seasons is like 4 different years. Like it's a there's a gap
it.
in
Right,
between then.
but that's my point, is that because every season they saw her with different men, all of a sudden she was a hoe. And I'm like, wait, how does she, because she's her dating is on display. So when we see things, we don't add the gap of time between, oh, she dated Future and now she dating X, Y, and Z. But this is almost a year and a half later. But how long was she supposed to wait for your level of comfort before we start calling her industry hoe or industry box or street hoe? Like, what was
It's
your level of comfort for that?
it is not a long periodically amount of time. It's just whatever people deem is like, oh, you don't be able to bop 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 boo bop bop. And I think it's the number of people. I don't think it's about the time span, to be quite honest.
But do we even know? We don't know. Trey bought this up. Trey, who she been with, Trey?
Yeah,
Thank you.
and that's just the way it is. Some things will never be the same. Um, we get to do that. Um,
Trey, who passed her around, Trey? Now I want to
Boom.
know.
I didn't know Lori Harvey until she got with this man from the Black Panther or whatever movie he
I knew
from.
about Lori Harvey. I only knew about it because it became a huge conversation when she briefly dated Diddy, and she allegedly had dated his son as well. I don't know how true that is, that she dated both of them, but people are calling her industry hoe because she had dated Trey Songz, and then she dated somebody else, and then Diddy, and then Future, and now she's with Michael B. Jordan. But you know, how is that any different if people, they might go out on a date or talk to somebody for a couple months and like, no, this ain't it, and then they meet somebody else. Like, it's not any different.
The
So
difference is that you're a public figure.
right,
That's
which is
all.
why I was saying it's on
Uh,
display. So all of a sudden now you
yeah,
you know
I mean, what you're saying is accurate, but the truth is that you know that's just the life you live, and that's what comes with the life. You get to be a celebrity, and everybody you date We're going to see it, and then we're going to have a record, and we're going to call you a hoe. I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm not participating in that game. And Trey, I hope that you come out of that game as well.
I don't think it's a game. I just think, do it like
But
it's your B day.
I'm saying I'm not going to participate in labeling someone as a hoe simply because their dating life is on display. Because truth be told, if half of our lives, even a fraction of it, was on display, we would be so many things.
Yeah, and being a hoe is not a bad thing.
Yeah,
She's clearly winning.
she is winning. I mean, probably not today, but she's still winning more than some of these people. So.
Yeah.
Well, that is all that I had for our week's catch up because I think how long have we been gone? 2 weeks, 3 weeks? I don't know. I can't keep
We
up.
won't go on no
Um,
weeks. We
so
was
what do that
here.
mean, Trey? Because she was with Jay Drew. What that mean?
That mean even Jay Drew here. Like he not even he like a F list celebrity.
But she not no A-list celebrity.
I think
She not
in
even
the
a
black
punctual
community,
D.
you don't think so?
And Jay Drew Shear, he Christian peen I don't be in
He's
that world.
not. He's not. He's not Christian.
But I'm saying he in the Christian peen world like Sheared. He know whatever.
He not though. He industry.
Listen,
Um,
it's like being in a small town.
it's that's what I'm saying. Like it's no different. And I know you said it's like it's a small amount of celebrities,
It
but
is.
it don't matter if you sell with everybody in the neighborhood, everybody in the high school. You still a hoe. You ain't gotta be
No, you're
famous.
not, girl. Just move out of town.
there, the thing about the high school whores that we knew, and why we called them whores, there was about 4 or 5 dudes that they would mess with that would make them a hoe. We
I
ain't gonna
just
call their names because we all they tell know who they are.
I just don't. I just
Um,
never liked that. I just never like. I mean, I get why it happens and I
yeah,
understand it, but I just never liked that. Like, you in a small space. You're in a very small space. You're gonna talk to several different people over a span of a couple of years,
but
and
it
they're all in
brings
the
out
same space. Hmm.
it really just brings out people's the poor relationship people have with their sexuality
Mm.
and expressing and exploring their identities and what that looks like. And so, unfortunately, in the South and in many places, you can't be a Southern Belle. You can't be Blanche Devereaux. You know,
Blanche Devereaux.
was a hoe, but she was a Southern hoe. she had some cool. Honey, the only people that knew her good business was the women in the house, and
Hmm.
everybody who watched the show. So I think it's just one of those things where it is a double standard. Um, you just have to learn how to move and have sneaky links. And if your links are going to be publicly broadcasted, then it's going to be open to the court of public opinion. But I think people definitely should, if they want to, sleep around and date around, that's exactly what you should do because you are an American citizen if you are an American citizen, and those are your rights.
Good night, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in
You
because I
can't
have
end the
no
live.
clue how it got there. But
No, it got there because what you're saying. I mean, I'm just supporting your line of thought. You, as an American, as a person who has free will, you could decide what you want to do, how you want to do it. And you shouldn't be judged for that by people who because they wouldn't make that same choice. They shouldn't judge you. They should just be chill out. That's her personal choice. I wouldn't do it, but you have fun.
thank you guys so much for joining us for another Thursday night of Last of the Millennials. We probably right. Join us back here again next week as we continue to have these conversations here live on Facebook. Don't hesitate to join us on live or comment in the comment section. Please like, share, and subscribe. And again, tonight's episode is brought to you by Moments Captured. Love y'all. Good night. See you next.